Hello and welcome! So we have been let loose, we are off the hook! Yes, rather than your usually scheduled Morehammer podcast, you have got me and Sai bringing you the power of the 1980s. Yes, it is the video we have been talking about doing for quite some time here on the Morehammer podcast, and now that the whippersnapper is off on his hollybobs, Sai and I are going to be talking about 1980s cartoons, but in particular, how those tie into wargaming. So as you can see, it's me, your usual three hosts, 90% Geek, filling in for Luke, and joining me, we have...
It's me, it's Simon, and we've been let off the lead. Are going to have a little bit of fun tonight. There will be some wargaming and Warhammer related content, don't worry, but we're going to break the rules tonight.
We are going to be all kinds of... We've even got a very special episode of How Much at the end of this episode. So make sure you stick around for that till the end. But first, perhaps if I briefly explain over why it is we're talking about 1980s kids cartoons. And it's not just because we're both old gits. I don't know if you're aware, but very, very recently, there has been an awesome video put out on YouTube. I'm going to quickly bring it up on screen for you now so you can see what I'm talking about. Coming up on the screen now. Let's give it a watch.
It is the 2005. The treacherous Decepticons are attacking Metro City, planning to steal dark energy cubes.
I think I've got those ice cubes.
But the valiant Autobots and Optimus Prime are here to save the city and rescue as many civilians as they can. Unbeknownst to both, a greater threat rises in the distance. Who will triumph? Or will both sides be destroyed?
The miniatures they've got for this are absolutely beautiful. I don't know if they've 3D reprinted them or if they've hand sculpted them themselves. It's a sheer joy. But yes, the general idea is they've taken a classic 1980s cartoon show, Transformers, Gen 1, the original and greatest of the Transformers shows, and made it into a tabletop miniature game. And it's brilliant. I mean, just absolutely stonking. For each of the miniatures, they've got like the vehicle version or the fighter jet version, and then the robot version, so they can use like PowerPoints to transform and stuff during the battle. And the Decepticons are trying to steal the energy on cubes, while the Autobots are trying to rescue the civilians and stop the Decepticons from getting the energy on cubes. And then Devastator comes rampaging in and just starts destroying the city. It's sheer gold. What Sai and I thought we'd do is we thought we'd talk about what other kind of 80s kids cartoon shows would make great tabletop war games.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might as well start with G1 Transformers, because just looking at that, it looks absolutely brilliant. I think I have seen there was a game on Kickstarter a while ago. I think it was about to be on Kickstarter, and somebody had done some prototype miniatures for Transformers G1. So there's Prime, Bumblebee, Jazz, Prowl, and then I think the Decepticons. We had Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, and I think possibly a couple of the Insecticons as well. And I don't know if it used the WizKids miniatures. I don't know if you've seen those. There were some prototype ones.
You showed some of them on the Discord.
It would make an awesome tabletop game, especially if you did it like along the lines of Marvel Crisis Protocol or something like that. And each miniature had like a vehicle mode and a robot mode. And if it's somebody like Megatron, you could equip Megatron onto Soundwave or something like that, because he doesn't transform into a vehicle. But you could equip Megatron with Soundwave's gun. But I love that video that they've done there. I like the commentator, how he's doing the it's like the voice from the 1986 movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, it is the year 2005, that kind of thing. It's brilliant.
With super high-tech flying cars and hoverboards and everything that you'd expect that the 1980s thought we'd have by now. I've watched the whole thing through, and one of the things I love is they've written in rules for stuff like if Prime places himself near as the closest target to Megatron, Megatron has to target him, for example. So there's a cool moment where kind of Bumblebee is down to like one wound, and the guy moves the Prime miniature in front between Bumblebee and Megatron, going, "It's me you want, Megatron." Yeah. And Megatron
one immediately shall stand, one shall fall.
Oh, so good. If Stan Bush's Dare had started playing over the course of that video, it couldn't have been more 80s and better.
That was a quite passable Optimus Prime, then. I'm quite proud of myself.
Seriously, saddest moment in cartoon. I think one of the earliest films, there was two films I remember seeing at the cinema as a kid. The Fox and the Hound and Transformers. And of the two, I mean, bear in mind, The Fox and the Hound, it's, you know, it's one of those Disney classic kind of 1980s weepy ones where, you know, everything seems to go to hell and you think everyone's going to die halfway through. It's like watching Bambi getting his mother killed on loop. The death of Optimus Prime is still sadder than watching The Fox and the Hound, when he just fades to black and white.
The two traumatic ones for me were Prime, and I don't remember it, but apparently I had to be taken out of the cinema for the never-ending story when the horse sunk in the mud.
God, no! That is serious childhood trauma there.
I've never seen that film since, and I don't think I ever will.
You should. I watched it with my daughter. She loves it.
Yeah, I probably will. I think I should. It's been a long time now. I think it's been 40 years. I can probably watch it again.
I mean, if you haven't traumatized your kids with it yet, surely this is the ideal opportunity to inflict some lasting childhood trauma.
My son's watched Transformers the movie quite a few times now. He thinks it's absolutely brilliant. But the first time he watched it, he was 5, and Optimus Prime died, and he looked at me, and I could see his eyes welling up, and I was like, "Welcome. This is all part of growing up."
You are a man, my son.
He will be back. Don't worry. We just need to watch the Headmasters.
But no, I genuinely can't believe that there isn't. I mean, obviously these guys, Games Like Wyndham made their own, but I can't believe there isn't a Transformers miniature game. There's a He-Man miniature game that came out a couple of years ago, and that's brilliant. I mean, in terms of the quality of the miniatures, and it is, like you say, like a bit like a Crisis Protocol style system where you've got a small group of kind of powered up characters that interact with each other.
I mean, all I can think of is like Hasbro are really, really tight on the reins with the rights and stuff like that. So that's probably what's holding them back. I don't know.
I mean, well, we've got the new Transformers. We've got Transformers 1 coming out. Is it still this year that comes out? Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. It's just come out.
Is it out? Okay, no, it's out. Well, I might have to go and see that.
I think so.
Let us know if we're wrong. Let us know in the comments, please, so I can find out.
If it's not out already, it's imminent because I'm starting to see reviews of it online. So.
Well, that would be an excellent tie-in to like the whole Transformers 1, wouldn't it? To release a miniature game for it, because you've got that whole aspect from the trailer where they kind of get their transformational powers for the first time. Albeit there is a grognard part, a Transformers fan part of me that goes, but hold on just a minute. They've shown Megatron and Prime being like best friends at the start of the trailer. But yeah, I know from my Transformers lore that Megatron started out as a gladiator, whereas Prime was one of the higher caste. You know, Megatron's the one from... Yeah, that's it. Whereas Megatron comes from kind of the common muck. And I genuinely, I was like, no, they're doing Megatron dirty. He deserves his kind of Megatron Decimus Meridius style origin story.
Angron of the Decepticons.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so let's talk about what other kind of 80s cartoon shows would make, I think, great miniature games. There's one I want to touch on straight away here. I'm going to quickly cue up the theme tune for all the whippersnapper kids out there who perhaps have not seen what I'm about to share, the genius that is...
While Ben's doing that, by the way, for anybody that's listening, we are both appropriately attired in 80s t-shirts. So if you're listening on Spotify, well done. Keep doing that. But for those of you who are listening, I've got a Batfink t-shirt on. And Ben's got a Land Before Time t-shirt, but it's actually the Dinobots and not the dinosaurs from Land Before Time.
Darn tootin'. Here we go.
Oh, yes.
Masked Crusaders working overtime, fighting crime, secret raiders who will neutralize soon as they arrive. The soundtrack is gonna leave a mission.
One of the best cartoon intros ever.
Yeah. Top 10, definitely.
It's the mighty power they can save the day. No one knows what life.
I mean, who doesn't want a boat that comes out of a car?
Exactly.
Always riding on Venom's trail. Come see the laser rays.
Buffering issues aside there, how cool would Mask be as like a tabletop war game?
A mobile armored strike command, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could have the vehicles, you could have the miniatures with all like the individual guys like Matt Tracker and what's he called? Dusty Rhodes? Is not Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes was one of them, yeah.
It was Dusty Rhodes, wasn't it?
Dusty Rhodes was one of them, yeah. He was the one who drove the big rig.
Now you've got Miles Mayhem, obviously. I did want to talk about Mask actually, which we'll come to it in a minute. But yeah, I agree, it would make an absolutely excellent miniatures game. I mean, it's one of the best cartoons ever. But yeah, Mask. So a lot. I was wondering, one of the things is how much did 40K take from other references? You know, when it comes to naming things. I mean, obviously we know that Games Workshop has taken a lot of reference for things like Tolkien and what have you. But
Dune.
When you look at Mask, some of the
40K.
vehicles in Mask, I have got a list of it here somewhere. Let me just work. So you've got the Thunderhawk, Matt Tracker's car. You've got the Rhino, which is the truck from Mask. We've got the Piranha, the Manta, the Barracuda. They're all from Mask. So I think when somebody
it's quite shocking, actually.
Yeah, when somebody was doing the tow, perhaps they thought, "Oh, there's some cool names." They've just been watching Mask. We'll call some of the tow vehicles like Piranha and Barracuda. I mean, even the Piranha, they sit behind each other, just like they do on the tow one. So, but yeah, no, it would make an excellent tabletop game. I'm not sure how it would work, but yeah, I'd be all.
I would imagine again, it would be something akin to. It wouldn't quite be Crisis Protocol because you'd have to have the vehicles. The vehicles are a core element of Mask. I mean,
something like
although the Mask
Walker style rule set.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, like Gaslands or something. You know, you'd have something where you've
Gaslands.
got the vehicles, and then you'd want to have rules for the characters with their masks as well. But maybe, obviously, from a question of scale, you don't want them to be the same scale. If they were like 40K scale, for example, the vehicles would be big. Especially something like the big rig. Although I suppose actually you could play some games of scale in the same way that 40K does, because I mean a battle wagon in no way, shape, or form looks big enough to fit 20 orcs in it, unless they, you know, stacked Jenga style in the flatbed.
What you could do for the masks, like Warhammer Underworlds, where you've got your fighter card and then you've got an inspired side. So when they put the mask on, you flip the card over and they've got extra abilities and extra powers.
That would be very cool, yeah. But yeah, you could have a small warband, which perhaps is, you know, a couple of vehicles and the masked riders who, you know, operate against them. That would give you the scope to have mixed things up a little bit as well. So you'd have, you know, a couple of different vehicles. You could be playing against different opponents. Maybe they could go beyond. They could expand the universe beyond what's already in the cartoon show and add some extra kind of elements into it. But yeah, I think something like 28 mil would be about the right scale for it, actually. And you just fudge the scale with the vehicles a bit so that they perhaps are appropriately sized to look as if the person would fit inside them, but not be, you know, entirely. And of course, they'd have to have moving parts. I mean, if you couldn't open the gull-wing doors on the Thunderhawk and have it suddenly take off, what's the point?
Yeah, and you need to like have that giant missile coming back out of the Rhino truck, and we need a speedboat coming out of a Jeep. It has to happen.
I do feel like perhaps this is one of the reasons why we're kind of almost talking about this topic is these are the toys that I played with as a kid. I know you're in much the same boat, and I kind of want to be able to play with those toys again, just with a more adult setting, with, you know, with rules and dice and tape measures and stuff. I want that that same fun that I had smashing the Barbies around, you know, the man Barbies around on the carpet, but now on the tabletop.
Yeah, this is why I play Star Wars Shatterpoint and to a lesser extent Star Wars Legion, because I love Star Wars. I had all the figures as a kid, but now I get to like play with clone troopers. I get to play with General Grievous. Or I can now they've all released all the Rebels, the heroes from the Rebels cartoon have just come out in Shatterpoint as well. So
I mean, that is literally taking the cartoon show onto the tabletop, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so the model's definitely there.
Well, yeah, Mask I would definitely be in for, and if they want a massive terrain piece, Boulder Hill.
I just have an objective marker as the kid, just like, you know, constantly zipping around the board. Whatever you do, you mustn't accidentally blat the child that is let
Scott
loose.
And T-Bob.
Zooming around on T-Bob.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Do you want to pick the next one? We've got a few queued up. Do you want to pick the next one?
Yeah, so the next one that I picked, and if you've been watching previous podcasts, you know probably where I'm going with this one. Where is it? Let me just find it. So Transformers we've already spoken about.
Yep.
Bucky O'Hare as a tabletop game. It would have to be something like a Kickstarter, but I was thinking it would be like I know I've mentioned it a lot, but it would be something along the lines of Shatterpoint, because there's not that many characters. So you've got the crew of Bucky's ship, you've got the crew of Commander Dogstar's ship. So you're going to have like 8 heroes in total. But then for the other guys, hang on, he's going to play the music now.
No, I'll wait until you're ready.
All right, yeah. For the bad guys, obviously you've got the Toad Air Marshal, Toad Borg. You've got, is it Fricks and Frax? I can't remember the two.
I don't remember the names. There was the big purple bounty hunter crocodile. I remember that.
Yeah, Al Negator. Yeah, that's right. Alligator, and then we've got Toadborg, and then you have
Yeah.
Storm Toads. You could have like several Storm Toads.
Yeah.
So it would have to be something small scale, hero scale like Shatterpoint, but then they could expand it because like the Aniverse that they're from, you know, the Bucky and the heroes. You could have other animals. You got Mimi LeFleur as part of Dogstar's crew, the fox.
What you need is a crossover beyond all crossovers. You cross it over with Lilac Wars, and you have like Star Fox and stuff come in. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, but yeah, Bucky O'Hare would be a good one. It'd be a bit of a laugh, and it could be something along the lines of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I would imagine that's kind of how I would play it in my head.
Yeah, I think that kind of, or like you say, like Star Wars Shatterpoint. It is that kind of small grouping of like 4 characters would be your force, because that's the kind of the same way that you get the kind of the box sets for Shatterpoint, isn't it? Like you might get like a couple of robot troopers and Count Dooku or something.
Yeah, like for example, the Vader one, you get Vader, a Stormtrooper Sergeant, and 2 Stormtroopers. So you could get like the Toad Air Marshal, Toadborg, and 2 Storm Toads, and then Bucky's could be Bucky, I don't know,
Deadeye Duck.
Deadeye Duck and Willie DeWitt, and then the next one could be Jenny, the Berserker Baboon, the little
the robot Blinky.
Binky, that's it, yeah. So you could do that.
You could, absolutely. And you could add like little character packs as well, like, you know, the Alligator, the
Alligator, yeah. There was quite a few on the body side. I can't remember them all, but you had Toadborg as well, was like the big cyborg.
But yeah, I mean, you could do it almost in like corridor type battle, because obviously part of it, the action took place in space, part of the action took place on various planets on the show. So you could equally do, you know, almost boarding action style terrain for some of the kind of battles aboard like the Toad Armada flagship sort of thing, and do equally some of the clips, you know, do it some of the battles on planet side and stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the episodes they go to a space station, so you could do it there as well. That's one that Alligator's in. I remember that one.
Let's quickly cue the theme tune for this one.
Another dimension, another time and space, a parallel universe is falling on its face. When out of the chaos, who else could it be but the animal adventurers from SPACE? Bucky! Captain Bucky O'Hare! Mutants and aliens and toads beware! You're looking for adventure, well this is it! With Jenny, Deadeye, Blinky, and Willie DeWitt, I said Bucky! Captain Bucky O'Hare!
Bucky O'Hare of the Toad Wars!
In the battle of the universe, you don't know what's next. You only know amphibians are made it complex. When you check out your scanner and the evil that it poses, there's only one course of action. Crocus some toad. Bucky!
By far the best lines in any cartoon. That's Crocus some toad. And if that wasn't like a tagline on the box or something for the game.
I love this guy getting the funky fresh rabbit with his Bucky O'Hare.
Yes, he's not actually a rabbit.
But yeah, Bucky O'Hare. Right, the funky fresh rabbit who can take care of it, but he's called Bucky O'Hare. But he's from the planet Warren, so yeah, I don't know. Is he a rabbit? Is he a hare? Is he a bit of both?
Maybe, you know, like maybe he's a hare on his father's side and a rabbit on his mother's side. I mean, he is green. Yeah. Who is that?
It's still an awesome cartoon, though.
I think it's one of those ones where in my head it like ran for ages, but I haven't actually checked. I'm sure there's probably only like a very small number of episodes.
I did look it up recently on Wikipedia after the last podcast. I can't remember how many episodes there are. There's not an awful lot. It's not like Mask. When I looked that up and I saw how many episodes there were absolutely tons. As I can't remember how many there were, but Mask, there were loads.
I'm going to quickly see how many episodes.
Yeah, actually looking it up now. I just remember it coming on BBC, and Andy Peters used to sing the theme song.
13 episodes.
13.
Literally 13 episodes.
So if you did have the rights to make a miniatures game, you can go to town expanding it and bringing in characters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's loads. I mean, that's it. There's loads of space to kind of go, okay, we've got this universe, which is, you know, popular in a certain generation of kids. Let's expand on it.
All Star Max and Star Wars. Scramble!
I like how it looks like actual kind of like military spacesuits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the bomber seats facing opposite directions in the Star Bomber.
Remember the cat jumping in the ship? There he goes.
I always worried about that. Like, what if he's decompressed? He's fine. He's got a spacesuit. The cat has no spacesuit. Albeit it looked, hey, yeah, let's go. Also, I would be worried about a cat in a spaceship just like pushing buttons and stuff, and you're suddenly flying backwards.
You know what cats are like for standing on buttons? Canopy jettison. Oh no!
Awesome bad guys as well. I mean, there was very much. There was very much kind of a Battlestar Galactica vibe to this, because the bad guy was Emperor Dark and his army of kind of Cylon-style robots.
Just you wait until you see one of my how much choices.
Yes. So I genuinely think StarCom, firstly, I mean, two things I'd like to say about StarCom. Firstly, I think it would make an amazing tabletop game, because it would, I mean, you wouldn't have kind of the pilots and stuff being miniatures. You'd go pure kind of space fighter combat. It would be in the same vein as like X-Wing. That's what I would imagine. So
yeah,
you'd have
Aeronautica or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But you'd have like a fleet of spaceships of varying sizes. Because although they did produce like some land-based vehicles as well as part of the toy range, for me, it's StarCom. It is very much about space. And if you had a game where you've got, you know, wings of like fighter craft zipping around through asteroid belts, it would be like Battlefleet Gothic written on a smaller scale. But I think it would be brilliant.
Yeah, you got your Star Max bombers, then there's the Star Wolf fighters.
Yeah,
I think there's a Valkyrie as well on the goodie side, and then on the baddies it was I can't remember. Was it something bats or something? I can't remember.
Shadow bats, and then
they
had
had the
Vampire,
little fighters. Yeah,
and there was the Spy Bat as well, which was an even smaller stealth ship version. And then there was the Vampire and the Parasite.
Yeah. So it would be a great, like I said, an X-Wing miniature style game. That would be really good.
Well, you could add some extra. I think it's got scope for you to add some more ships in that same kind of design ethos into the range. But I mean, you start off with this 2-player. You start off as, because they're both kind of almost humans versus droids, albeit the droids are under the command of Human Emperor in a very much Battlestar Galactica vibe.
Altar.
Exactly. But you could expand it. You could add in extra kind of space forces. You could add in aliens if you really wanted to. You could go all over the place, I think. You could go with robots who have freed themselves from Emperor Dark and are an independent, you know, robot force. There's all manner of scope for some cool spaceship-based combat there. But more than that, I think StarCom would make an amazing TV series.
Yeah, especially with like Netflix, with the, you know, the money they've got and the CGI that you can do nowadays. Yeah, StarCom would be epic.
I mean, one of the things I loved most about the Battlestar Galactica remake was the kind of the Viper combat scenes, where the Vipers versus the Cylon Raiders. Those kind of space fighter battles were brilliant. Yeah. I think StarCom could do it even better, because their ships are even cooler. I mean, at the end of the day, in Battlestar, you basically had Vipers, and then you had the kind of the big troop transports. That was basically it. Think about all the different ships you could add in from StarCom for a
Battlestar. You had Vipers and Raptors, and that was it.
Yeah, that's it basically.
But yeah, I mean, one of the best ones on Battlestar was when they drop it into the atmosphere.
Yes.
And then,
the Adama maneuver, you mean?
Yeah, the Adama maneuver. And Hot Dog's like, oh, this is going to be different when he launches the Viper into the atmosphere. And that was class. That was brilliant.
It was
something like that for StarCom would be awesome.
Season 3 Battlestar is peak. That kind of scene when the Battlestar drops out of the sky and then jumps to hyperspeed. It's just
just leaves a
brilliant.
Vacuum and just goes boom. Yeah, it was class.
So I mean, StarCom again. I think that's another one that would make it a brilliant tabletop game.
Yeah, and that sort of ties us nicely into the next thing we wanted to talk about. Really, unless you've got any more cartoons, is what 80s or what old shows you'd like to see live adaptations on. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
That was what I wanted to talk about. Yes, I would like stuff that was great 80s cartoons that had a really kind of fleshed out world to them that I think would work amazingly well in real life, in like live, you know, a live action version, whether it's a movie or a series. With all the different streaming platforms fighting for content, it seems a no-brainer to be kind of picking up some of these older properties and going, well, let's dust them off. They've got some amazing storytelling to them. Let's reimagine it and also tap into that nostalgia market.
To go on, what's your first one that you would like to see?
Okay, this is one that I will confess I think about at least once a week. This one, I'm gonna share this. This one, I genuinely, if I won like $100 bajillion, I'd see if I could get this made, because this, I think, would be epic.
You'd be straight on Kickstarter, wouldn't you?
Oh god, yeah. I'd be like, hey, Everybody, let's make this. I've even cast parts of this. Okay, this is the show that I think I'd love. Whether it was a show, whether it was as a movie, this is what I would love to see.
There's going to be people listening there nodding their head.
It is the 31st.
No, it's died.
The giant Cyclops when he rescued the children and his son Telemachus.
No, he doesn't want to play games. Okay, go out and check out the Ulysses 31 intro because it's one of the best intros in like 80s cartoon history. I honestly, the story behind how this show got made, the idea of taking at the time brand spanking new Japanese anime style animation and pairing it with French script writing to come up with this genius work of science fiction, and the fact that it ran for like 60 episodes. There's this guy Adam Adamant over on YouTube who is in the process of remastering all the episodes, so cleaning them up, gathering them together so you can watch all of them. Oh yeah, no, it's seriously, it's well worth it.
Not know this.
Well, all of the episodes of Starcom, incidentally, I found are over on YouTube as well. You can watch every single episode of Starcom. I mean, there's only 15 of them, I think, but you can watch all 15 episodes of Starcom on YouTube as well. But imagine Ulysses 31. It's the science fiction version of the Odyssey. I mean, it is, you know, classic Greek. We could have it in any format. It wouldn't have to be Ulysses 31, albeit Ulysses 31 had such an amazing kind of visual aesthetic to it. But it's the story essentially of Odysseus, Ulysses in this version, taking the Latin name, on his quest to get back to Earth and to undo the curse that has been inflicted upon him. What was basically the Greek gods. I am going to try playing this a little bit more, see if it plays some more.
But the ancient gods of Olympus are angry and threaten a terrible revenge.
Mortals, you defy the gods? I sentence you to travel among unknown stars. Until you find the kingdom of Hades, your bodies will stay as lifeless as stone.
Ulysses, the way back to Earth has been wiped from my memory.
Father! Oh, Father!
You are alive, my son.
Can I just say, I when I was rewatching this for the preparation for this, I was like, there is some Emperor of Mankind vibes coming off of Ulysses.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I always
the
feel
intro's
like
sort of split into two as well because it kicks in now, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, it goes. The most famous refrain from it.
Ulysses, Ulysses, soaring through all the galaxies in search of Earth, flying into the night. Ulysses, no one else can do the things you do. Ulysses, like a bull upon a bow of blue. Ulysses, always fighting all the evil forces, bringing peace and justice to all.
I mean, so much to unpack. The bad guy's spaceship is a trident to reference Neptune, who from the Odyssey cursed Odysseus, is the reason why Odysseus had to wander for 10 years. Odysseus's ship turns into the shape of a Greek spear tip, but also splits into 3 parts because that's just cool.
Yeah, it's on the nose, isn't it? But it's still awesome.
He's got a jetpack. He's got a lightsaber that is also a gun. It's just amazing. And I watch this sometimes and I go, okay, why is this not a live action movie? And why have they not yet cast Jude Law as Ulysses? This is where I go in my head. This is like, they've already gone to the trouble of, you know, like casting Jude Law as a Jedi in the upcoming Skeleton Crew for Disney Plus. Let's just have a live action version of Ulysses.
Yeah,
31.
we need Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to get their hands on it.
Can you imagine what they could do with this? It's got all the stuff that they love as well. I mean, it's the real kind of Mandalorian vibes. He is a single dad fighting across in a hostile galaxy for the sake of his son, the girl, the daughter he's adopted, and their little robot friend. It is pure hot Mandalorian flavor right there. And I would love to see a live action version of this. Anyway, that's my big brain wheel. This is the thing that I genuinely like. I've played around with like AI art just to see what it would look like if you had like Jude Law in the Ulysses style spacesuit, and my answer is it looks really cool. let me stop sharing that one and ditch it. Sai, what would you like to see a live action version of?
Well, to be honest, there are many, many things that I would love to see, like cartoons from the 80s, given the modern day Amazon Prime or Netflix treatments and whatever. But ever since sort of Firefly went away, we're missing a space western, I think. And one of the cartoons that I loved was Galaxy Rangers.
Everyone was waiting for you to say Brave Star there. You realize,
Well,
right?
I'm coming to that. Brave Star, I was going to mention later on because there is like Solar Leontus, Brave Star, and Solar Leontus and Constantine is basically Brave Star and 3030. They even painted it up the same way. It's so obvious. But no, Galaxy Rangers, not only did it have an epic theme tune, No Guts, No Glory, but it was really good. It was like a really underrated cartoon, and I think I reckon they could do a decent series on it. It's just trying to sell it and try and get it over the line. But I think Ben's going to try and play it now.
I'm going to try. Let's see how we get on.
In 2086, two peaceful aliens journeyed to Earth, seeking our help. In return,
how cool are those aliens, by the way? Let's just reflect on the fact you've got like a Doc Brown and like a space cat or something.
Yeah.
They gave us the plans for our first hyperdrive, allowing mankind to open the doors to the stars.
And they responded by
We have assembled a team of unique individuals to protect Earth and our allies. Courageous pioneers committed to the highest ideals of justice and dedicated to preserving law and order across the new frontier. These are the adventures of the Galaxy Rangers.
Into these worlds of unknown danger they ride. That Galaxy Rangers healed in the sky. No, that's
Robot Blaster Arm.
Oh, taking this stand. Ready to prove it again.
No, it's frozen up. I'm sorry. I mean, it's so 80s. The rock and roll power ballad that comes in. It is so 80s.
The hair metal theme tunes like Jason the Wheel Warriors, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute as well. But yeah, Galaxy Rangers would make a really good series because they could bring in all sorts of different characters with all sorts of special powers. You've seen the guy there with the bionic arm that he can actually fire like charge electricity from. I think the girl was a bit of a psycho, if I remember. He had the gunslinger guy with the big sideys and what have you. It was awesome.
Yep.
Mechanical horses. What's not to like?
I mean, if you marketed it as essentially Westworld in space, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
Westworld was pretty awesome.
Heavily on that Western in space Firefly theme as well. And then Jason the Wheel Warriors, I'd love to see a live action version of that. I don't know you get away with it with the monster minds and so on.
No idea. I've left Jason the Wheel Warriors off because I think that one would be unfilmable.
Yeah, exactly. It's just me wishlisting. But yeah, there are many things I would love to see. Make a live action comeback if you like.
So what I'm going to suggest, this was the other. I've got two others that I think would make awesome options. I'm going to try and share this one. If I described it to you as Game of Thrones, but with more kind of magic and shape-shifting.
Interesting.
Would that's my elevator pitch?
It is a time when magic is more powerful than science, and only those who control the magic control destiny. They are the visionaries.
It is kind of a sci-fi Game of Thrones as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I've never even thought about it like that. I mean, I only remember the toys with the holograms on the front of them and what have you, but yeah, it was cool. I do remember that. It was a cool cartoon.
It's one of those ones where I kind of look at it. Again, it only had 13 episodes, but the storylines on them were all really well kind of thought out and unique, different takes. They weren't just there to, hey, let's plug the toys. Albeit they did an excellent job in plugging the toys as well. Again, it's one of those ones where I looked at it and thought, well, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, they've got that medieval kind of sword and sorcery, but gritty vibe to it. And it does feel to me that same style, almost, that kind of aesthetic, but with some science fiction stuff thrown in and a kind of an extra smattering of magic.
Yeah, I need
It's
to
always
watch the cartoon again, I think, because I can't really remember a lot of the episodes. So I'm gonna have to do some YouTubing with that. So I'm off for a couple of days this week, so I know what I'm going to be doing now. Starcom,
Starcom.
Ulysses, and Visionaries.
Visionaries, my two favorites. So there's one of them where the leader of the Knights of the Celestial Light, the good guys, Leoric, who appropriately turns into a lion, gets cursed and is stuck in his animal form. So everyone thinks he's actually a lion and a monster, and like hire some other knights to try and kill him. And the other, one of my favorites, is the bad guys, the Darkling Lords, steal kind of Merlin's spell book with the intention of taking control of the magic for themselves and get more and more kind of sure and cocksure of themselves, so the point where they decide to try the ultimate spell at the back of the book, the forbidden spell that no one should cast, at which point the world seemingly starts to come to an end until they crawl on bended knee to Merlin to turn the magic back to fix it. And it turns out that basically the spell at the back is like a cheat code. It makes it appear that as an illusion that the world is ending, but actually it's just there so that if the magician's spellbook is ever stolen, eventually the idiot who steals it will try the forbidden spell and go running back to the magician to get things fixed.
Down, left, right.
Basically, yeah.
BA.
Okay, one last one that I think would make an awesome live action. And this is one of my other... I don't know if you'll ever remember this one, because very few people I've spoken to remember this. But if I told you that this is what you get if you cross Spy Kids with Knight Rider and the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I know exactly what this is.
Go on, before I hit share, do you want to tell everyone what it is?
Pole Position. It was epic.
Pole Position. And it had an amazing theme song, if I can get it to play.
Theme tune as well, yeah.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of Pole Position.
They're moving real fast, they're the only ones who can get there on time.
Okay, sis.
And never too far behind, they are always fighting crime.
So cool.
Stop time, man. Ready as you are, Rhodey.
In the danger zone. Pretty soon they'll be off on a mission.
Hydrofoil mode, Rhodey. Hydrofoil engaged, Dan.
What's behind this? Hovercraft, quick!
What's behind this?
Show!
Only there are clothes. Sit back and watch them go. Hell, 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 hell.
Yes.
Genuinely, imagine that as a film. You'd have to kind of do it in a... I don't know, it would have to be done with a slight tongue-in-cheek thing. You'd have to accept that what you were doing was not as cool as kind of Fast and the Furious. It wasn't as gritty. But if you had, okay, it turns out your parents were spies for a secret organization that uses race cars to fight bad guys. And they've disappeared, so we are getting your teenage, or college-age kids to take over and fight, the bad guys with our robot cars that can fly. If you pitched that, just like money would. Hell, they Rebel Moon got greenlit. If Rebel Moon can get greenlit, how can we not get a Pole Position movie? Come on, Netflix.
Yeah, Pole Position was awesome. Not many people remember that. I definitely remember it. Me and my cousin used to watch it all the time. I think it was on it might have been Going Live on a Saturday morning or Get Fresh. One of the two. It was definitely on there.
So I'm wondering this one now, how many episodes did Pole Position have, do you reckon?
20-something, I think, maybe.
Let's have a look. Pole Position on Wikipedia.
Pole Position. If you do remember Pole Position, by the way, let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube.
13 episodes again. That literally one season. 13 episodes.
13,
same
right.
as Visionaries, same as, I think, Starcom. Yeah, same as Bucky O'Hare. 13 episodes. That's
and then you just had Mask, which had like a load of episodes.
Like 5 bajillion.
No, it's awesome. So if we can just bounce back into tabletop gaming just for a
Let's
little
go back to this. This is the Morehammer podcast after all.
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about just before we started, actually, so I didn't have time to mention it to you beforehand. We run about IP coming into tabletop games like Transformers and stuff like that. I was thinking about other games, like there is a He-Man game, Arena Battleground, I think it's called, is the starter set. Have you seen that He-Man one?
I have, yeah, the Masters of the Universe one.
Yeah, that's really good. And then you've got the Aliens one, Another Glorious Day in the Core.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I thought might make a good tabletop game, Starship Troopers.
Well, it was been a tabletop game. I'm sure they did a miniature. Yeah, they made a miniature game for it and everything. I'm sure there's been a Starship Troopers miniature game. So
ignore me then. I'm just talking at me proverbial rear end. I didn't know there was one because that would be a good one.
I think it's out of production now, but it did exist for a while because I remember seeing somebody painting up like all the bugs. And I think
because you got your arachnids, different types of arachnids, and then I was thinking, well, what could you do for the MI? But then you could have like you got everybody with a Marita, then you could have the nukes on the rocket, the sniper guy, and you could have pilots as well because like when Carmen and what's his face come down with the carbines, you could have
and the Psycho Corps, don't forget.
Yeah, so Carl and his Psycho outfit.
It's afraid.
Yeah, that'd be good. But if there has been one, then fair enough.
I need
fairly
to do some
research on that.
Back in the days when Games Workshop were a little bit less touchy about other people's IP, I'm fairly sure they featured one of the miniatures in an issue of White Dwarf because I'm fairly sure that one of the miniature painters was painting up a Tyranid army in the Bugs color scheme, and they featured an inset.
Yeah, Duncan did paint one of the Tyranids up as an arachnid, and he painted up a guardsman as Roughnecks 2.0.
But I'm fairly sure this got to be like early 2000s. I'm fairly sure that they featured an inset with one of the Starship Troopers miniature game models to show how he'd taken the color scheme from that and applied it to the Tyranids. Because it was one of those things at the time where you're like, wow, okay, they're actually mentioning other companies' games. Can never imagine that now. I mean, bear in mind that they used to like advertise in White Dwarf. You had other miniature companies advertising in White Dwarf back in the 80s, back when we're talking about cartoons here.
Yeah, they need to do some collaborations again like they did with Milton Bradley for Hero Quest and Space Crusade.
Yes, you've been tempting me with Space Crusade all this week. Occasionally, if you're on the Morehammer Discord, occasionally Sai just sends me messages of it's almost like sidling up to me and going, "Hey, check this out!" And each time it's an increasingly more expensive mint-in box version of Space Crusade. And the two of us kind of look at it for a while and hiss through our teeth and go, "Can't afford to buy it." No, I can't afford to buy it either. But it's very, very tempting.
I know it is.
The Dreadnought one you shared today, it literally. Still on the sprue.
If it hadn't been missing two components, I'd have probably bought that. But you'll have to wait until the next podcast. But I have made a stupid purchase recently.
Yay!
Let's put it this way: I'm not playing How Much with you guys anymore.
Oh, good. Well, I've got one especially for you. That's probably a decent segue.
Because I found something on How Much, and then ended up buying it. So you have to wait and see.
Well, this seems like the ideal opportunity to segue into this week's How Much, a very special 1980s edition of How Much. For anyone who's not watched the podcast before or not heard us play this particular game before, this is a kind of an alternative one that we sometimes run when we're not doing the Warhammer 20 questions, whereby we go browsing the pages of eBay, looking at the buy it now stocks of things of varying kind of provenance, usually gaming related, and then take it in turns to show each other what we found with the price redacted and challenge the other player to guess how much it is. And generally speaking, what we kind of go off is how close the person gets to it. So sometimes we play this as a 3-player and it's like 2 people guess the third person's. It is easily playable though as a 2-player. You guys can play along at home as well if you're listening or if you're watching this video. What we'll do is we'll take it in turns to each put forward one of our offerings, and whoever gets the closest to that offering gets the point. So we've got 3 offerings each, so there'll be overall a total of best out of 3 at the very least. So we'll have a clear winner. Sai, do you want to go first or second with the first of these offerings?
Go on, I will go first.
Let me present your first offering then. So Sai, do you want to describe this for those of you who are listening on Spotify? Sai, what is your first offering?
So yeah, this one is rather appropriately a bundle of Starcom toys. So we've got the Starbase Station, we've got a Shadow Bat, which was like the enemy ship. There's boxes there, and then there's a Starmax bomber as well, which was the main sort of hero ship for the Starcom US Space Force. And there's 2 different pictures. Ben's got one of the pictures on the screen now that doesn't quite show the ships; it's showing the boxes. But one of the things I've found with Starmax bombers when looking on eBay is they're all yellowed. The plastic has gone yellow on the main body of the ships. Okay. It is very, very rare to find one in good condition.
It's still white.
It's still white, yeah. This guy is selling a bundle of toys, including a Star Max bomber with the box and the space station. And the Star Max bomber is white. And it is quite a reasonable price. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a clue there, Ben.
Ooh, it's a reasonable price. Okay.
Yeah, I when I looked at the picture before I saw the price, I thought, Jesus, that is going to be expensive. Because I know how much a pristine Star Max bomber goes for, especially a white one as well. It's got all the bits on it. It looks like all the guns are there for the bomber. The cargo bay is there. The Shadow Bat's got the 2 individual fighters that clip into the wings. It's a really, really good bundle. And if I hadn't just bought something stupid on eBay, this would not be on eBay now because it'd be in a box on its way to my house.
Well, it's got the original, like, looks like the manuals at least. I don't know if this is the original packaging.
Honestly, it's got everything, mate. I'm going to tell you the price. If you don't go on eBay and buy all this, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm going to guess £85.
All right. No.
No, go on.
No. You're quite low there.
Oh, you said it was reasonable. Oh, God. Go on then. Okay, how far out am I?
Double it.
So £170.
It's 199, and if you look at everything else in that picture and look at all the stuff that's selling separately on eBay,
yeah,
that is,
I'm sure,
not, is a bargain.
You're going to have to kill me because there is no way I can go and spend £200.
Yeah,
on
no,
toys.
There's 200 quid. It's 200 quid, but there's at least 500 quid worth of stuff there.
Okay, so I was £114 out then. Let me see if I can challenge you. See whether or not you can guess how much is going for.
Oh my word. I've not seen one of these for a very long time.
The Bluebird Mantiforce command ship. This was the giant spaceship which you could lift the top of, and it then had within it a whole bunch of smaller little ships, which in turn had tiny little plastic men, and they fired little plastic missiles that were spring-loaded. This is a complete set. Everything is still there. It comes with the box, which is near mint, I would say. It's not mint condition, but it is near mint. So let me ask you then.
This is early 80s, this, isn't it?
It is indeed, but it's something that I longed for as a kid. This is one of those ones where my stepbrother used to always want loads of like He-Man figures and stuff, and I used to really want this. And then as kids, we found that each other had the toy that the other one wanted, so we got to play with the toy. I got to play all his Mantiforce set. He had all the sets. He had this. He had Red Venom. He had the alien kind of slime warlord giant spaceship. He had the whole shebang. I had a whole bunch of He-Man figures that he got to play with. Go on then. How much?
Complete with the box, with all the little figures.
Box, everything's there. Has been played with. Things have been taken out, and they're not, attached to their original plastic or anything. But it is used near vintage.
£75. I'm really clueless with this one.
You are much closer than I was. £99.99, because that extra penny makes all the difference. You are only £25 out on that one, so you get the point for the first round.
That was pretty much a lucky guess.
First round to Sai then. Any preference for your other two? The video game or the other?
Let's go for the video game.
Okay. The video game. Let's share this one. Would you like to describe this for those listening at home?
So this is Bucky O'Hare for the NES, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was quite a good game. It was quite a difficult game. It was very much like Mega Man, if you ever played Mega Man for the NES. And it's fully complete. So the box is in okay condition. There's some staining on the inside lid. There's some pen written on the inside lid, but the manual's there, the cartridge is there. It's tested and working. There's a little bit of staining on the manual apparently as well. Let me just get the item up on the screen just so I can see how much it is, so I can remind myself. Ben, how much do you think Bucky O'Hare for the NES is? Bear in mind it's a game for the NES and it's complete and it works.
I did not even know there was a Bucky O'Hare game. I knew there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the NES. I did not know they'd done a Bucky O'Hare. So I feel I have missed out in this regard. I might have to go back and see if I can find like an emulator of this to play at some point. I mean, the only thing I would say is that Bucky O'Hare is more niche than some of the NES games that are out there. Like, you know, if it was something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, or the original Ghostbusters NES game, those are less niche, I think, than Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah, I mean, you do get some mad examples like Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually goes for like a stupid amount of money, but then other games for Turtles, it's not as expensive.
Still, it's near mint. So for a decent collector, it's going to be. I'm going to go 120.
120.
Yep.
I was really surprised when I saw the price on this.
Go on.
And I don't think they'll sell it. £299.
Bloody heck.
Why would you pay that for a NES game?
£170 out on that one, then. That's going to be
I feel like
I've
screwed you over with that one because I was shocked when I saw the price. I was actually searching for Bucky O'Hare action figures, and I saw this, and I thought I've got to put that in there because it's ridiculous.
No, it's very cool as well to learn that there was a Bucky O'Hare video game. I'm going to have to research this and see what some screenshots, at the very least, of the action looked like, and you know, like what player characters and stuff.
Yeah, there's some playthroughs on YouTube. I've had a look.
Oh, cool. Okay, I shall have to have a look for that. Let's see if I can challenge you instead with this one then.
Oh.
So you had Starcom, I've got Starcom. This is the Starcom. It's described literally in the description as the Starcom Holy Grail. This is the Upriser action figure. So this is, apparently it was one of the land-based kind of toys, and it comes with the box, it comes with the manual, it comes with
this was the baddie one, wasn't it?
It is. It's one of the Shadow Force command models. It comes with, interesting, as well as the two like troopers who operate it, it comes with the Emperor Dark figure as well. So it comes with the High Commander, who you can just see perched on the top there. But apparently, I mean, one of the things that was cool about the Starcom toys was that they were essentially clockwork, so you could wind them up. But then if you applied the magnets in the boots of the toys to certain platforms and parts of it, it would trigger the clockwork mechanism, and then they would move under their own power without ever requiring the use of batteries, which was kind of cool. So like the original like Star Wolf and the Space Bats.
Yeah, the Star Wolf, the wings used to come out, didn't they?
And the nose cone folded down. So they went from being packed in storage shape to folded out and ready for action.
Yeah.
So this one, not surprisingly, raises up. But apparently there were very few of these made, which is why it is described as the Holy Grail of Starcom action figures. You know what?
I had a good look at Starcom toys today.
You're going to have seen this, aren't you?
No, I thought you might pull one of these out of the bag of Starcom toy, but I didn't see this, and I don't know anything about this one.
Excellent. Good. That's what I like to hear. Would you care to guess how much for the Holy Grail of Starcom toys?
Ooh, right. Okay. So you're kind of giving me a clue there. I've seen the space station. Some of those go for like 120, but that's the US space station. So if this is like a Holy Grail, I don't know. I'm guessing £150.
This will blow your mind. This is we always do buy it now prices on this because it's not like auctions of £3,096.09.
How beeping much?
It is €3,690 to give a reason as to why there's like 9 pence on the end. It's being sold by a guy in Germany. He at the very least will provide free shipping, but it is over $3,000 for this toy.
I should expect free shipping as well. I expect him to bring it to my door in a Rolls Royce, a glass of champagne, and say, "Thank you for buying this."
Yes, there we go. Okay, that's 1-1 there. That was my ace in the hole.
Yeah, you definitely had me there.
Let me bring up your last offering then. There we go.
Yes.
We should have mentioned these earlier. These are really cool.
Well, these very nearly made it onto the list. So this one is from the cartoon Centurions. So for anyone who's listening on Spotify, you might remember Centurions. It was Ace McLeod, Max Ray, appropriately named for the water guy, and then Jake Rockwell. And these three guys had like suits called exoframes, and they could bolt on various bits. So Ace McLeod got like a jetpack, wings, and a helmet, and stabilizers and missiles, and he could fly. And this is who this guy is. This is Ace McLeod in the box with all the bits. It has been opened. Everything is there.
I mean, you can see that around the waist, he's still got the zip ties holding.
Yeah, so they've opened the box and slid out the card insert, but the figure is actually still attached to the card insert. And they weren't normal size action figures; they were fairly big.
No,
they were
they were
like
huge.
I think they were like 9 or 10 inches in height. Probably about
They were
9
like
inches.
Action Man size, is what I always remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, they were that kind of big, almost Man Barbie size.
Yeah, so if you had Ace McLeod, all the flight gear bolted onto him and the helmet was separate, or Jake Rockwell was the ground operations guy, and Max Ray was the underwater guy. And this seller is actually selling all three.
Okay.
I did notice that, yeah. So it's buy it now in the box. So it's been opened, but the box is in good condition. Everything's there from what I could see. And I've been looking for one of these for a while, but I think it's going to be out of my reach.
Well,
so how much do you think?
A bit of a clue then there.
How much do you think Ace McLeod's going for?
See,
Bear in mind, this is a bit of a niche cartoon as well.
It is. I mean,
this one also had a great theme tune, by the way.
I bet this is another one whereby if we checked how many episodes there had been, it'd be like 13.
We need to do that in a minute, yeah.
I'll do that in a sec. But how much? How much? When I first saw Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story movie, it reminded me of Ace McLeod, actually. That same kind of pop-out wings, the bulbous helmet. There is very much kind of a similarity in that regard. I am going to go, since you hinted that it is outside your price range, I am going to go £210.
210?
Yep.
See, I would have expected it to be that.
Go on.
385.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am 195 out on that one. And I'm honestly, that's...
No, 175.
175. I can't do maths. Anyone who's watched my review videos will know I'm terrible at maths. There were 65 episodes of the Centurions cartoon. This one ran and ran. They've got as many episodes as Mask, which for a show that's basically about three guys, one of which has got a jetpack, one of which has got a scuba suit, and one of which can turn into a motorbike, is quite a lot of episodes, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, they did bring another guy in towards the end of it who had like a half exosuit. I can't remember what he was called. He's like a Native American guy, I think he was. I can't forget his name.
Okay. I am going to now, if everybody buckle in, I'm going to cripple Sai.
Oh,
Sai? How much?
Right.
But
go on, Ben. You describe it because I'm giddy with it. I want it.
Sai, anybody wonders why Sai's face is down in his hands. This is a Brave Star, one of Sai's all-time favorite cartoons. Animation cell from Film Nation. Vintage production art, a pan of the background of the main town from the show Brave Star with the animation cell, hand-painted, hand-drawn, used in the animation cell of Brave Star riding on 350 across the town. Comes with a certificate of authenticity. This is an original. The seller is selling a few different ones, but this was the best one as far as I was concerned. Yeah, this is an original Brave Star cartoon animation cell. This is part of the cartoon that you grew up loving. How much? How much are you going to spend?
Oh, you wazzock. Where do I start with this? I don't know. I'm going to have to pluck a figure out of thin area. Oh, God. I mean, I've looked at Transformers animation cells now and again before. I'm guessing this is in dollars.
It's priced in dollars, but I've also got the price in pounds.
Yeah.
So we've done all the rest in pounds. If you do it in pounds.
Right. I'm going to say... Well, I had the figure in my head as dollars, so I'll stick with dollars. $12,000.
It's actually about half that.
Right, okay.
It is $598 or £450.89.
Oh, okay, I'm way off then.
So yes, I mean you're about £600 out in that regard. So I carry the third round. I carry the point. £450, Si, and it can be yours.
Oh, it's my birthday on Thursday.
No. Okay, I'll stop sharing. I'll send you the link to that after we're done.
No, don't.
In all fairness, I should mention I had a look at the seller's site because he is selling a whole bunch of it. This was the best one that he was selling. He is selling some of the background character cells. So there's a whole bunch of them of Tex Hex, the villain, and you can get a screen film of Tex Hex that was used in the series for about £19.
Yeah, see that there. Let's put it there instead. Forget the plaque that was given to me when I left the military. Get that off the wall. Let's get Brave Star on there instead.
Well, that's it. This was the only one I could find that had both Brave Star and the horse in it. That's why I went with that one.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
those
do
ones,
love
as you might
Brave Star,
imagine,
but I don't think I love it. £500, love it. But
No.
yeah,
but for £19, you could get a cell of Tex Hex that was actually used in the cartoon. And there's, like I said, there's a whole bunch of other background characters and a few other, cells from different episodes that all kind of vary somewhere between the £15 and £35 one. I think the cheapest one I found that had Marshall Brave Star in is a waist up Brave Star cell. So it's a bit where they've used the top half and then presumably animated on lower legs at different sides.
yeah,
But that half of Brave Star, the top half of Brave Star, £35.
that's not bad, to be fair.
Like I said, I thought I saw this and I went, okay, well, I'll break side by sending him, £450. But then I'll show him, actually, you could get a cheaper one.
Now I don't feel bad about sending your Space Crusade stuff and trying to get you to buy it now.
This was literally my revenge for all the Space Crusade stuff.
If you'd have sent me something to do with Space Above and Beyond or something like that, I'd have been knackered. I'd have bought it.
That's the show I was thinking about when I was talking about Starcom and like how great a TV show it would make.
Or the Star Wolf looks like the Hammerhead fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
I own some of the props from Space Above and Beyond. That's how much I love it.
Wow.
So
That is another show, actually, that
I'll have to show them off on the next podcast, but one of the M590 rifles from the show is mine. It's got the Fox Studios sticker on it as well.
That's very cool. That's one of those ones where if they wanted something to bring something back, that would be an excellent show to kind of re-release on like the stream. Or just stream the original episodes, but maybe do a new series of it as well. We've had all kinds of shows coming back, 15, 20 years after they'd been cancelled. Space Above and Beyond was pure, decent sci-fi.
There's certain members of the cast who are up for it as well. I've even spoke to Joel De La Fuente on Twitter a couple of times, who's now in Man of the High Castle.
Oh, okay.
He played Paul Wang in the show. He's up for it. There's a hashtag called Wang Lives. So if you, spoiler alert for anyone that's watched the show, do you remember it at the end?
Yeah, I think the statute of limitations
guns blazing in the cargo ship.
Yeah,
but as the fighter hits the ship, a full half of that cargo ship gets blown sideways with the gun turret still firing. So he's like, "Hang on, Wang lives. He's still in there." He just split the cargo container in half, but it was sealed because the door slammed shut.
Pressurized.
Yeah, so
okay,
they'd left it wide open for a new series, but then obviously it got cancelled. Damn you, Fox! Firefly and Space Above and Beyond.
So literally, I swear the Fox executives just like lived on the tears of geeks. It's what show can we make now and then cancel cruelly and unjustly too soon?
In the episode Pearly, where they read the eulogy out of the APC manual. Do you know which one I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
that manual with the written text in it is over there on the shelf.
That's very cool. Oh,
there's
just
actually
sat on the shelf.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's three different versions of it, so they've changed it slightly. So the pages are repeated through the manual. It's like the same 100 pages again and again. So there's different versions of the speech.
I occasionally go looking at like prop sites and stuff, and kind of going, "Oh, if I had the money, if I didn't have to feed myself and put a roof."
Well, yeah, this is before I had children and responsibilities, and I had a decent job, so I was like, "Oh, okay, I can afford that. I'm having it."
The props that I've looked at a few times that I've kind of, oh, I'd like to buy that. They West Wing is one of my all-time favorite shows, and there was a batch of West Wing memorabilia that went on sale a few years ago. And they basically, it was little stuff like Bartlett for America badges that they were selling that had been worn by extras in the background of scenes when he was running for election. I'm like, oh man, I would be awesome to have that like little one of those framed on the wall and know it was a piece of West Wing history. And funny enough, you say about Space Above and Beyond, the cast being up for it. The cast for the West Wing have said repeatedly that they'd be up for another series. I mean, it was another show that got cancelled after 7 seasons. This week was the 25th anniversary of the West Wing release, and to celebrate it, President Biden invited Aaron Sorkin and Martin Sheen and a whole bunch of the other West Wing actors to the actual West Wing and hosted a dinner in their honor. And literally, there's pictures of like President Bartlett and President Biden stood side by side in, a setting that up until now had been recreated for the show, but now they're stood in the real thing. But Aaron Sorkin said in an interview to Variety afterwards that actually walking around the West Wing, he found himself thinking, man, why didn't we do this in the show? Why didn't we do that in the show? So he's thinking of pitching a new season, a revival of it, which would be quite cool. But the other piece of TV memorabilia that I was very, very tempted to go into debt to buy is about 10 years ago. Somebody had previously held in their private collection, but they decided to sell it. It is the painting of the fallen Madonna with the big boobies.
Oh my God.
From Hello. They actually had it, like the original one that had been used on screen in Hello. And they'd kept it. I mean, apparently it had been donated to like this stately home that they'd filmed a whole bunch of stuff. But he decided to sell it for charity. In the end, it went for about 15 grand.
We're way off tangent.
But it was like literally on the props thing is the Fallen Madonna with the big boobies by Van Klop.
One of my greatest comedies of all time. I love Hello.
Such a good show.
It's even better watching it now because you know that they wouldn't get away with it nowadays.
No. One of my favourite things that I've seen is there was apparently, when they were filming it, there was a fire in the studios at the time, and they were filming Doctor Who in the studio next door. And there's photos, if you Google it online, you'll find there's photos of the cast of Hello and Sylvester McCoy and the cast of Doctor Who all gathered around with like blankets over their shoulders, drinking tea and nattering. And you've got, like Renee and Colonel Gruber sat chatting with Sylvester McCoy and a Dalek or something with half the top off. It's brilliant.
Fantastic.
I don't think we can top this. Right, okay. That is probably an excellent space to end. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed myself and Si being let off the leash. It won't happen very often. Luke will be back next time to crack the whip and keep us on.
If you've been listening to us on Spotify, thanks for bearing with us. We've got away with murder and shown all sorts of different clips, but he's away this week, so we thought we'd have a little bit of fun.
Si, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you? What they've got coming up?
Usual place on YouTube as Hobby Waffle. So latest video I've just done was a retro read-through of White Dwarf, and I've also got Inquisitor Ostromandeos, the Warhammer Plus
the
exclusive miniatures just turned up today actually, so I'm going to do an unboxing and a build on that one. And then there's going to be something else coming to the channel that's related to the stupid purchase I've made following a game of How Much with Ben and Luke.
I take no responsibility.
Yeah, no, it's my own fault. I'll be doing something cool on the channel when that finally turns up as well. And then usual place as well, Twitter and Instagram as @HobbyWaffle.
Cool. I can be found over on my own channel, 90% Geek, and I am currently working on, I'm just going to quickly share a picture because I meant to share this earlier. I am working on, in line with what we've been talking about today, I'm painting some Ghostbusters miniatures that I got from 7D TV, with the aim of doing a Halloween video of Ghostbusters versus Nighthaunt in Warcry.
Excellent. I love it.
So come and find me over there and subscribe if you want to make sure you don't miss that. Right, well, I think that's it for us. Thanks very much for watching and listening, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will catch you next time. As Luke would say it, happy wargaming.
Bye.